Hi, guys. Welcome back. So,
Hey,
Abby is here with us again today. I'm sorry, Gabby. Did I say Abby?
Gabby, Gabby, Abby.
Long day. All right. So, welcome back to Student Squad with Gabby. All right. So, I was given a Spanish phrase at the end of our last episode, and I have been practicing a little bit here and there. So, I'm going to say, um, what was I saying in English again? Now I forgot the English part.
We were saying, we were like, what was it? It was like,
I
um,
am here. Let's get started.
I am
Okay.
here. Yes, let's get started.
Okay. So, yo estoy aquí. Vamos a empezar.
There we go. Yes, perfectly well
Yay.
said. Yeah, that was
Yo
amazing.
estoy aquí. Wait a minute, what? Yo estoy aquí. I'm here. Vamos a empezar. Right?
Let's get started.
Let's
Yes,
get started.
let's get
Yay. I will
started.
get there. All right. So I can't wait. I guess I'll try to think of what, or maybe you can come up with something to teach me at the end of this episode.
Yeah, we can. I don't know. We can probably try maybe something a little harder.
Yeah, go easy on me now, though. Okay, so today we're going to go over the structure of a phone call. So after you have lead generation and you have some homeowners or agents of properties that you're interested in possibly purchasing, you want to make phone calls. After a while, you'll probably get too busy to be able to do all that, and you'll have somebody make phone calls for you, or you'll have someone else help making calls so that you can get more done. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. But in the beginning, everybody always has to start off doing them themselves. So I'm going to share my screen. Let's see if I can do this right. I'm going to share my screen. This is a diagram that PACE was giving out to non-sub 2 students for free on one of his videos that he had. I don't know, on Instagram or Facebook or YouTube. I can't remember. But I got this before I joined sub 2, and it is a diagram that he gives out for free. So basically, there are 4 pillars to a phone call. And this is also gone over in the book Asking Questions the Sandler Way, I believe. Yeah, Asking Questions the Sandler Way. So when you phrase things as a question, and this works for adults, it works for children, it works for anybody. But when you frame things in a question, it invites them to think about it in order to give you an answer. And then you're arriving at a conclusion together versus you just telling them something. Does that make sense?
Yes, I think I have heard of a few of the 4 pillars. I'm not sure what all of them are. I think I might know like 3 of them.
Mm-hmm.
And when I was door knocking, Alexis, she was the one who was training us about the 4 pillars and how important it is to have in the conversation. And I also remember from the 12 Days of Christmas with Pace, I believe it was I think it was Lance or another gentleman who was talking about reaching out to agents, and he had mentioned the 4 pillars again. So it kind of stuck with me a little bit.
Yes. So do you remember what they are? Do you want to try to guess? Do you remember?
I don't know them in order. I know 3 of them is motivation, it's
Mm-hmm.
timeline,
Mm-hmm.
and What was the third one?
Think about if you want to purchase somebody's property, what do you want? What would you want to know about?
So it's motivation, timeline. It's is it what is it called?
You want to
It's
know how much you're going to pay, right?
price.
Price, and then the other one.
It's
If you haven't really actually seen any pictures, what do you want to know about the house?
structure, like
The condition.
condition.
Yeah, you want to know if it needs any repairs. Is it brand new? Does it need a complete renovation? Just a little bit of stuff. So those are the 4 basic questions that you want to ask: motivation, timeline, condition, and price. So the questions that you ask, you want to ask at least 1 question in each category. And that's what this is going to show. I'm going to share my screen here. Oh, here we are. You can tell I haven't done this too many times. Okay. No, that's not what I'm going to do. A window. Oh, entire screen. Here we go. Okay. Yay. Thanks for bearing with us, guys.
Awesome.
Okay, so here, let me turn this off. Here are the 4 pillars of what you want to ask. So and I'll give this to you. I'll email this to you as well. So also I can probably put a link to this in the description below after the live is over. So motivation will be the first thing you want to ask. So you can ask them like, why are you thinking about selling? How long have you been thinking about selling? Ask the prospect if they've had any thought about selling before, before you called, mailed, texted them. If yes, is there some motivation? So deep dive into the motivation. Tell me more. How does that affect you? Type questions. Does that make sense?
Yes.
You found me so far? So like you want to know what their motivation is, because you want to know, it'll tell you about, if you're doing a creative finance situation, you need to know why they want to sell so that you know how to best structure a possible deal if there is one, so that you can help them out while acquiring the property at the same time. So everybody wins in a creative finance deal, right?
Right.
So like, for example, the house was left to me. I've been running it out and running it out. They always want me to come over and fix something. They're never paying rent. That's called a tired landlord, right?
Yes.
So that may be the motivation. The motivation may be, it's been sitting there vacant. It was left to me in my parents' will, and I just nobody wants to live in it. It's still vacant. I just want to get it off my hands. A pre-foreclosure, that could be another motivation. Okay. Timeline is another thing that you want to ask, because then you can use that. All these questions are going to help you structure a deal if there is one, and find out if there is a possible deal here in the first place. So this is a really good one to ask. If you decide to sell to us or anyone else, when's the soonest you can close? Would you like 30 days, 90 days, or some time further out? And then, if once they ask you, once they answer you, then, you might dive a little deeper depending on what their answer is. Oh, I could sell it tomorrow. Oh, I would need at least 90 days. And then, oh, 90 days. Is that extra time that you need to help, get everything together and move? If you dive a little bit deeper into these kind of questions, then you can figure out maybe how else you can help them, what their pain is, why they need to sell. So, like if they needed to get money together to move, for example, you might be able to offer them a little bit to, if they still live there, offer them some money to help with their moving expenses. Does that make sense so far?
Yes.
Okay. And then here's condition of the property and the price. So for condition, you can ask like, what's the general condition? Are there any major repairs needed? Is someone living there now? See, if they have a tenant in the house, they may not be 100% aware of what repairs are needed because they're not there, and you can't just trot over to a house you're running out with tenants living there without proper notice and stuff. When was the last time the kitchen and bathroom were updated? So the kitchens and the bathrooms are two of the biggest sellers on a house. If you have an updated kitchen and bathroom, that makes the value go up. If they need to be redone, those are the most costly to redo. How old is the roof? That's a big ticket item. Any big ticket items you want to know about? Does it have central heat and air? And how old is it? So like HVAC, the heat and the air, that could, if they're 20 years old, they can need to be repaired in another 5 years or so, depending what the life expectancy is for that particular brand. And then the last thing you ask is the price. The last thing you want to find out about is the price. So you could say things like, if we buy the property, will we need to pay off any taxes? You want to see if there's going to be any liens. You don't want to wait till you get it under contract and then title goes to pull the property and they're like, oh, there's a mechanic's lien on this house that needs to be paid off, or there's a tax lien on this house that needs to be paid off. Do you know what a lien is?
I don't.
Okay. So a lien is when you owe someone money, like let's say you had some work done to the house, and when it came time to finish paying the mechanic, you didn't have, or contractor. I'm thinking cars. When it comes time to pay the contractor, they said, oh, it's going to be more money, and you didn't have it, or for whatever reason didn't have the money to finish paying the contractor. They can put a lien on your property. It's called a mechanic's lien, contractor's lien. And so that means that, okay, I understand you're not paying me, but if you ever sell the house, this lien needs to be paid off before you get any of the profit. Same thing with taxes. There can be a tax lien on the house. That's another motivation as well. They'll give you a certain amount of time to pay it, and if not, they can take the house and sell the house in order to pay off those taxes. So I don't know what that means. Use a price anchor, I guess. Yeah, if you can purchase in cash, of course, but depending on what the market is doing, you want to make sure that there's like a certain percentage that you don't want to go over, a certain percentage of the ARV, which stands for after repair value. So you want to make sure that, like right now, I think it's like 50% or something like that, last I heard. So, you could say something like, if you don't want to give them cash, or cash might be the way to go. So, you ask them, what do you think your house is worth? And if they say, "Oh, I'm not going to take anything under 400,000." Oh, okay. Like, do you have comps for the area, or, ask them for information. Um, so if they say something like, well, what would you give it? What would you give me for that house? And you say, well, I haven't really had a chance to pull comps yet. We don't usually do that unless you're interested in a deal. But just looking at this house from what I see here, I can give you a cash offer, but I don't, if you're looking for, you know, something close to the ARV, the value of the market value, or list price, if you're calling an expired listing. If you're looking for something closer to list price, I might be able to work something out if you give me terms. That's kind of like an introductory way to talk about creative financing.
Mhm.
So, does all that make sense so far?
Yes, and actually, like me being new to calling, to agents or any sellers, it's just like sometimes I'm just like, wow, a lot of information, percentages after, um, repair values, and like comps. I know what it means, but I don't have like a full understanding to where I can explain it to someone who else, like to someone else who's new. Um,
Gotcha.
and I don't know how to do that either, um, because like it's a long conversation you're having with someone, and it's like you have to know what you're saying because it's like it's like over a property. So that's my like biggest challenge right now. I don't have that
Mhm.
confidence to have that conversation with someone yet, and like all the information. I feel like I need to learn like percentages and the
Yeah.
rates.
It's kind of a balance. You have to find a balance between not overthinking it, but also you need to really be able to answer questions and things like that. Um, so a lot of people, especially when they get started, will partner with people so they can make the initial calls and then have someone that we refer to as a closer, who can come in and answer any questions that they have. You ask the basic questions that to ask, and then you have a closer come in and close the deal. Then when you have a transaction coordinator, who is the one who does the paperwork and takes it from the time you get it under contract to the closing table. They usually will, a lot of them will also be able to do what we call underwriting. Underwriting is where they can pull comps and get an exact numbers for a potential deal, and they'll be able to come up with a really good estimate of what the house is worth. Does all that make sense? Did I explain that right?
Yes.
Okay. So, just getting started, you just really need the basics to get started, is what I'm saying, just to recap. And, you know, that's why it's always good to be on a team in the beginning. You want to be on a team, you don't want to try to do it by yourself. And then you can always, kind of like refer back to that. You can say, well, I don't have an answer to that question per se, but I can have my one of my team members hop on a call with us. And if you have a list of questions ready, then we can, go over all the questions that you have, and we can have them answered right there live. Um, that way you can see my face, I'm a real person. And, my team member will be right there to answer any questions that you have, and so forth.
Hmm.
So, I think that another good thing to do, there is a video that I have saved on my YouTube channel. And it's a video on YouTube that pasted, where he's actually calling and talking to a seller. Do you want me to pull that up?
Yeah. Yeah.
So
I,
you can kind of hear what I'm talking about, right? Okay.
right. Yes.
Yeah. So put that away. I'll pull up this. Here's
So
my channel
it's on
here.
your channel.
I'm sorry.
The video that you're going to show us, it's on your channel.
Yes, I have it saved, but it's not saved to a public playlist. So hold on a second. Let me just do this. I have I have a whole bunch of stuff on here. Some of them, most of them are not public. Some of them are. So there's different things that you can do with a YouTube channel. You can hold on. Let me do one thing at a time here. Okay, so this one. No, that's not gonna work.
So when it's
Wait a
when
minute.
it's like someone having a conversation with when it comes to closing a deal, is it like a different conversation? Like let's say when it comes to like a pre-foreclosure, when it comes to a fix and flip, a wholesale deal.
The basic structure is the same, but there are different questions to fit the situation, if that makes sense.
Okay, yes.
Okay. All right. So in this video right here, Pace has working with an agent, and I think he's going to describe the whole thing. So I'll just let him go through it. He's going to talk about what you're about to see, and then we'll go through it. Okay. And
Okay, cool.
this video here is 25 minutes. Let's just get to the part where he's actually we'll just play the beginning.
Are you hearing it from your end? You are. I don't
Can you
hear
hear
it
it?
from.
Can you hear it?
I cannot hear it.
You cannot.
No, I can't.
Hold on. Can you hear me
I can hear you.
really good now as opposed to before?
Yes. With like
Okay.
I hear you with like a mic on.
All right. So you couldn't hear any of that? All right. Let's
No,
do that.
not the beginning of the
Okay.
video.
So let me turn it up a little bit here. All right. Tell me if you can hear it. Just give me a thumbs up or a thumbs down. Okay.
Okay.
Wow. You
Yeah,
can't.
I can't hear it.
That is so strange. Hmm. That's so weird. Um, you can hear me though, right?
I can hear you.
Hold on a second. Let me see this. All right. Well, you know what? Okay, this is probably what I should do. Hold on. Let's do this. No, that's not how you do it either. Hmm.
I
That's
wonder
so
why you're doing that.
yeah, I wonder why because I did it for another podcast and it worked fine. Hmm. Okay. Chrome tab. Yeah. window. All right, let's try this. To share audio, share a tab or screen instead. Okay, screen. Okay. To share audio. Oh, there we go. Okay, I figured it out. Okay.
What was it?
It was a setting. It was a setting over here. Be careful
Oh,
sharing screen audio. If you have a guest, they will hear themselves. Okay. Well, that's why I don't have YouTube pulled up while we do this because there's an echo. It's just crazy. Okay. Let's try this one more time. Okay, you ready?
all right. Yes.
Let me know if you can hear it.
On the YouTube channel today, guys, we're going to be talking to Ryan, a real estate agent, had a listing in Texas. That listing fell apart. He actually DM'd me and he says, Pace, if anybody can solve this problem, it's you. So what you're going to see is a phone call with Ryan and the seller, and me explaining to the seller what the benefits of creative finance are, maybe some things that they should know. And then we're going to tie into the following day where Ryan called me and said, hey, what's our next steps? And then we're going to follow into me calling Allison, my transaction coordinator, and ultimately setting up Ryan, the agent, and Allison, my transaction coordinator, getting together to follow through with process of sub 2. So if you're a sub 2 student, head over to our Facebook group. You guys will see this full entire thing and all the Pace Study Zooms in the vault, giving you guys full access to the paperwork and all of those types of things. But if you're not a sub 2 student, hopefully you get a lot of value from this video. The reason I do Zooms a lot of times is because I want you to be able to see me, that I'm a real human being, because what I'm going to offer you guys is me taking over the existing payments.
Okay.
And whenever you're having that conversation, you need to make sure that your buyer, which would be me in this situation, is credible enough to take over those payments and never cause you future grief or issues, right?
Correct. Yeah.
So that's why I offered, hey, let's do a Zoom so she can see me and she can get to know me, et cetera.
More of a personal level because it's a very interesting conversation for sure.
Yeah, for sure. So it's a non-traditional real estate. I've done a little over 3,000 of these transactions. I have 2,000 of them currently in my portfolio. Just for you to understand the advantage for a buyer is
Okay.
you are kind of in a disadvantage right now because the time when you bought your house, the current situation in the market. The advantage for a buyer like me is I look at your house and I say, Brooke has already secured the financing for me, right?
Mhm.
The equity is not important to me. There obviously is, I don't believe there is any equity in this situation. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay, so like I don't care about equity, right? What I care about is my ability to cash flow without having to go out and secure new debt. That's the main advantage for me as a buyer. And I know that in 3 years or 4 years or 5 years, the market will trend back upwards after, the next probably 24 months, it'll trend downwards. So for me, it's a long play, right? I will make my money on year 5, year 6, year 7, et cetera. And
Okay.
the velocity of money is really important to me, which means from a buyer standpoint, I can go buy multiple properties very quickly utilizing subject to, which is the name of this type of transaction, versus if I go into a traditional transaction, it takes 90 days to 120 days to go get one loan, versus in that same one time and the same amount of cash, I can go buy 12 properties subject to while I bought one traditionally. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense.
So huge advantage for me, right? So I get excited about these
Okay.
types of deals. This is actually the only way I buy real estate. I don't buy real estate with cash. I don't go to banks anymore. I haven't been to a bank in over 7 years to buy a property. I always
Wow.
go to sellers this exact way, which is why people reach out to me because they kind of know that that's what I do. I tell you all of that to say, hey, what do we need to do to move forward? What questions do you have? What concerns do you have to maybe open up a short dialogue before you got to go?
Yeah. I mean, my question is just kind of around this whole like non-traditional form of real estate, anyways. And I know Ryan and I talked about that a little bit. When you do these, do you ever, is there ever a point where you do transfer the loan into like the name of your company or organization or however that works? Or
Yeah,
is it always like for the duration of the whole, I guess, let's say 30-year mortgage, like is in
Oh, great question.
the seller's name?
Great
Yeah.
question. So a couple of things there. And where that question's coming from is you're basically in the back of your mind, you're saying, I get the benefit to me right now as a seller, but like in 3 or 4 years, is there any way you can take this loan out of my name? Because I really think that that's going to be a nuisance. Is that kind of what you're thinking?
Exactly.
Cool. So you can tell I've been doing this a long time. So here's what I find. Number one, there's pain and anguish a little bit with the house right now. It's like, I'd like to just kind of be done with the house. And
Mhm.
it's like breaking up with a boyfriend or a girlfriend and leaving like your favorite pair of jeans at their house. Is that it's like we're broken up, but I still have something lingering. I really wish I could get that pair of jeans back. It's kind of that feeling. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I know that's a weird analogy, but you know what I'm saying.
No, it makes sense.
So that's how people assume it's going to be, is they think, oh, well, in 2 years or 3 years. I can tell you, every time I go through one of these transactions, my sellers forget about it entirely. And then they go to buy another house. And what my payments on that mortgage have done for that seller have actually amplified their credit score. And they go, man, I'm really glad that they didn't take that mortgage out of my name. It changes dramatically the mindset because you're no longer in the situation you're currently in. Now,
Okay.
I say all of that to say that the average time I keep one of these houses in my portfolio, the mortgage is in your name, the deed is in my name, right? I'm the owner, except you essentially have co-signed for me is the way you should look at it.
Okay.
The average amount of time that I utilize that co-sign or me utilizing your existing loan is about 7 years. Okay.
Okay.
My contract states I'm never going to remove it from your name because I want to have clear expectations and I don't want you to ever feel like I lied to you. But our average time, sometimes it's 3 years, sometimes it's 9 years, but our average is somewhere just shy of 7 years.
Okay. So that's just when like you totally take it over completely. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. So we'll do one of three things. Okay. We will either A, refinance the property with a new loan, right? Because your interest rate, this is not me being critical. I'm just trying to go quick. Your interest rate is not that great of an interest rate. What is it again?
Yeah. 4.75, I think.
Cool. So let's say that interest rates in 24 months curve down and they go to like a 4.25. I will usually go and refinance you out, but keep the house.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. So that's situation one. And that could happen in 24 months. Another thing that I do a lot of times is I'll sell the property. I'll go, I don't like this. It's causing issues. It's not cash flowing like I thought it was. And I'll sell it. And when I sell it, my buyer will come in with money and pay off your loan. It's legally required for them to do that in order for them to buy the house. They have to pay off your loan. And that could be 12 months. That could be 5 years. I don't know. Right.
Okay.
Or what we'll do a lot of times is I'll sell a big apartment complex and I'll get a windfall of cash and I'll utilize that cash to go around and pay off single family homes that I still have existing debt on. So those are the three scenarios that I typically wipe out your name off of the mortgage.
Okay.
Do you know what a refinance is?
Refinance?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not completely sure what it is.
Okay, so refinance is when you get a loan, or in this case, you have a mortgage, you got a loan from a bank in order to purchase this house. And so, like he was saying, she has, let's just for example sake, use an example of 5% interest. Well, then the interest rates go down to 4% interest, right? And you're like, oh, okay, why do I want to continue to leave this loan in place at 4% when I can refinance the amount that's left on the house at 4% instead? So let's say, for example, a house cost 400,000, okay? And then after 15 years, usually the term is about 30 years to pay off a mortgage. After 15 years, there's a balance of 200,000 roughly. This is just for example. There's a balance of 200,000. Well, instead of continuing to pay 5% on the 200,000 that's left, you go and get a new loan at 4% to pay off the 200,000 that's still left. Does that make sense?
Okay, yes.
So that's what a refinance is. And that's basically what he's saying. What he's telling her is, she's like, well, what if I have 20 years left on the loan? Are you just going to keep the loan in my name for 20 more years? And he's like, well, usually what we do is this. We could either sell it because, usually around the average time is about 7 to 10 years is the average time it takes to really be cash flowing on the house, or that wasn't the right answer. 7 to 10 years is usually when people buy and sell. That's the average amount of time when people buy and sell. So roughly around 7 years, he may pay off a bunch of houses. He may refinance it. He may decide to sell it. Whenever you sell a house, if there is a loan on that still on the house, that has to be paid off by law. That's what he was saying. They're legally required. The next person that buys the house, if there is still a mortgage on it, no matter whose name it is, they are legally required to pay off that mortgage
Okay.
with the money they're purchasing the house with.
Okay.
So, like, for example, if a house was deeded in your name, but I still had the mortgage in my name because you bought it from me, Creative Finance, right? And you go to sell it because you have the deed. Well, when you go to sell it, the title company is going to say, hey, there's a mortgage in Shanna's name. When they bring that money, wherever he gets the money from, whether it's cash or a lender or a bank, when they bring that money to the table to purchase the house, they don't get all of that money. Everything needs to be paid off. And then what's left is what the seller gets. So my mortgage would have to be paid off. Any liens would have to be paid off. Closing costs, whatever, realtor fees, all that stuff gets paid off. And what's left over is what goes to the seller.
Okay.
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 All right. So we'll pick it up there and start it again. This is kind of one of the more lengthy ones, but like if you want to hear some more seller calls, Pace is a talker. If you want to hear, I mean, there's like, you can go on Jerry Norton's YouTube channel. You can go on Pace's YouTube channel. Jamil Damji is the wholesale guy. He can teach you really good. You can listen to some of his seller calls of him trying to get houses on cash. And there are 3 really good resources. Those are the 3 guys that I followed before I joined Sub 2.
I've heard of Jerry Norton.
Yes. Yeah, they're all friends. As a matter of fact, there's a video, I'll send it to you, where Pace talks about the house that he lives in right now. He purchased with Creative Finance from Jerry Norton.
Oh wow. I know he like purchased homes by Creative Finance. I think that's like probably one way I would do on my first like home.
Even if you have all the money, even if you have plenty of money to purchase houses with, it doesn't make sense for you to tie up all your money in 2 or 3 houses when you could do everything on Creative Finance, lend that money out to somebody else that needs a private money lender, make money off of the money that you lend out, and get houses with Creative Finance. Do you see what I mean? Do you see the vast difference?
Yes, I do see like now like I'm understanding Creative Finance a little bit more. It's like I see all the opportunities there is and all the help that there is in this community. It's awesome, honestly.
Yes.
And it's just building that bond with someone.
That would probably be one of the best investments you'll ever make in your life is getting the money together to join Sub 2. Definitely. But we can talk about that more later. So I will start this again at where we left off. You ready?
Yes.
Okay.
That makes sense. Okay. I feel like I just had another question and I don't know what happened to it.
Can I tell you questions you probably need to know?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, so if I'm taking over your house, subject to, which means I'm keeping the loan in your name, deed goes into my name, right? I'm in charge of the property. If I have tenants in the property and there's a problem with the toilet, do they call you?
Yeah, that's a good question.
They do not call you. They call me. I'm the owner, right?
Okay.
The tenant wouldn't even know that you're involved in the transaction. Your name is nowhere on the house at all. Who's it?
Yeah, sorry to interrupt you, Pace. That's what Brooke had concerns about yesterday too. Like, hey, if it's not, I'm not there anymore.
Yeah, like
What
husband
happens if
liability.
something happens to the house. Yeah.
Great question. This is why I do a Zoom with with buyer or sellers is because I want you to see me. Like if you could see me, I would normally show you my bank balance. I would show you how many houses I own. I would show you my credibility instead of just tell it to you, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And so for you, you need to make a decision to sell your house to somebody who's credible, because I'll tell you something, as you probably know and can assume, tenants will damage your property, right? They will 100% damage your property, and you have to sell this property to an operator, somebody like me, who has the wherewithal, the team. I have asset managers, we have property managers, we have cash in the bank, we have all the things, and we've been operating thousands of units for a very long time. So one house is like nothing to us. It's like putting on a pair of pants, right? It's easy.
Right.
My credibility and my track history is the thing that protects you from worrying about this house being taken care of. Because I can tell you, I'm going to replace the carpet every 18 months. I'm going to repair the drywall every 18 months. I'm going to have to repaint things. I'm going to have to change fixtures. And the last thing you want to know, or the last thing you want to do, is ever even think about that.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay. So yeah, those things will happen. There is issues there. That's my job because I'll be the owner. I would say the biggest issue you need to worry about, okay, is something called the due on sale clause. Okay. So if I transfer the deed into my name, which means we go to a title company, this is all legal. It's been done for 100 years. We go to a closing attorney. We'll go through, there's a lady named Allison Tipton that we'll use. She's a closing attorney in San Antonio.
Okay.
She'll do the transaction. I'll get title insurance on this transaction, which means that we guarantee the paperwork was done properly, all that kind of stuff. Okay. Even after all of that, the bank, who's the name of your bank?
Like my home bank?
Yeah, who do you pay your
mortgage? Oh, Chase.
Chase.
Oh,
cool.
my board. Okay, yeah.
So it's Chase?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So let's say Chase finds out a year later, 5 years later, 7 years later, hey, Brooke sold this house to somebody, but the debt that is in her name didn't get paid off. What do?
Okay.
They send me a letter. Okay. They send me a letter. It's called the due on sale or the acceleration clause. And they go, hey, Pace, that's my name. Hey, Pace, you bought this house from Brooke and you did not pay off her mortgage. We're giving you 90 days to pay off her mortgage. Okay. That's what we call the due on sale clause. Okay.
Okay.
We have done thousands of transactions. It does happen. We've had 5 due on sale clause happen to us. It's probably 1 in 1,000 transactions. It does happen. In the event that does happen, then we have things that we do. We either sell the house, we pay the house off cash, we refinance the house. We do a variety of different things to avoid that, and it's never been an issue. But it does pop up, and it's something that you have to be aware of that could possibly pop up.
Okay.
It doesn't damage your credit, doesn't hurt you. They don't come after you. Nobody's suing you. There's no legal issue. We didn't break a law. It's just them saying, hey, we see you bought your house subject to, which is perfectly legal. But the way we wrote our loan documents is it states that we have the right, not the obligation. We have the right as the bank to come and demand that you pay us off within 90 days.
Okay.
That makes sense?
Yeah.
I would say that is the biggest issue you have to worry about when you have a credible buyer. When you don't have a credible buyer, the biggest issue you have to worry about when you sell this way is, am I ever going to have to worry about this house ever again? And if you have a credible buyer, you'll forget that you have this house, and in 7 years you'll go, oh yeah, whatever happened to that house? And you'll pull it up on your credit, and it'll show as a mortgage in good standing. Now, another really good thing, and I'll shut up, and either you can go or maybe you have another question. But another good question that I always tell sellers you need to ask is, how do I know my payment is being made every month? Because I'm not going to make the payment to you and then you go down to the bank. That's a hassle for you.
Right.
So what we do is we hire a company. There's about 400 of these companies in the United States. That should show you how common this is. We hire a company that does what is called loan servicing. Okay. What they do is they pull money out of my account. And this is also why I wanted to do a Zoom with you, so I could show you what this looks like. Like, I get the emails, my sellers get the emails. everybody gets the email every month of, hey, just so you know, insurance has been paid, mortgage has been paid. And we typically make the payment on the mortgage and the insurance about 5 to 7 days before it's due. So you are fully aware. If you decide to do so, you can elect to get the email notification once a month to say, okay, cool, the payment was made.
Like,
And
just for peace of mind.
Yeah, just peace of mind. That's it.
Okay.
And the money doesn't come out of my bank account and then goes into yours. And then I have to rely on you to go make the payment. Weststar is the name of the company I use. It's called Weststar Loan Servicing. And they pull the money out of my account and then they service your loan. They are a licensed third party to literally do this exact type of transaction.
Okay.
Okay.
Makes sense.
Okay. Let's see. What's another question? What am I going to do with the house? A lot of times sellers will want to know, well, what are you going to do with the house? I'm curious because they want to paint a picture. Usually I do a long-term rental. Sometimes I'll do like traveling nurses where I'll have traveling nurses stay there for 6 to 9 months, something like that. We used to do Airbnbs, but Airbnbs are just problematic and I don't like having to call a cleaning crew 3 times a week. And with a traveling nurse, they're typically educated people. They're there for work. They keep to themselves. They pay it. And that's the challenge with yours is your interest rate is not great. It's not horrible, but it's not great. So your payments on a little bit on the higher side that I have to take over. So I can't just do a regular rental and actually cash flow. Well, I have to do amplified cash flow, which would be a midterm rental, which is traveling nurses, if that makes sense.
Okay.
So I would probably do traveling nurses, or I would do, and it comes with its own management issues and all that kind of stuff. But that's what we do for a living. That's the only thing I do is real estate investing. So sometimes we'll do travel. We'll do like airline pilots as well. We'll go to the airlines and we'll work out an agreement with them where they'll let their airline pilots, instead of staying at a hotel, let's say there's a layover, and Houston has a huge airport, obviously. So let's say that Houston, but yours is far away. Your house is really far away from the Houston airport, so that's probably not a good opportunity.
It's like 40 minutes-ish.
Yeah, 40 minutes. I don't think they're going to have their
Speed it
pilots
up a
go
little
down
bit.
40 minutes to your house. So another really good thing that we'll do a lot of times is we will do insurance agreements. So we'll go to an insurance company where, let's say, another family in their home has been displaced because of a fire, a water damage thing, some sort of flood in their house, whatever. And then the insurance company calls me and goes, hey, do you have a house available? I need to have, I have one in Sugar Land, I have one in Katy, I have one in this little area. I don't know what, people say it's not Houston, but it's right by the airports. Humble, Texas.
Oh, yeah, I'm familiar.
So I have 2 properties in Humble, Texas that are really big, and we use those for insurance claims. So an insurance company will call us and go, what properties do you have available? We need to book 6 months in your property, and they pay for their client who's currently going through an insurance claim to stay on my property.
One of the things that we wanted to bring up was, hey, what if she wants to buy into
You know about that feature?
No,
Super
I don't know about that feature.
Okay. So this mortgage is going to be on your DTI, or your debt to income ratio, that your lender is going to look at. It's a great question, by the way. So what I can do is I can have you talk to one of my lenders, and one of our lenders goes through. I used to be a licensed a loan officer, so I used to do this for people well before I was even a real estate investor. We prove that the payments are being serviced by a licensed third party, and your loan officer will wipe out the payments, 100% of the payments off your DTI, as you have shown them that somebody else is making the payments through a licensed third party.
Okay.
Yeah, that seems to be a big issue, but it's, we've had.
Okay, so do you know what DTI is?
No, I have not heard of that.
Okay, so DTI is short for debt to income ratio. So when you go to the bank to get a loan for a mortgage, or for a house or a credit card, whatever, they usually ask you about your debt to income ratio. But where they really scrutinize on your debt to income ratio is when you're buying a house. So they want to know all the bills that you have. They're going to ask you while you're under contract. You're going to have to give them so many documents and stuff. They want to know all the bills that you have. They want to know all the money coming in, all the money going out, to make sure that you have enough to pay the mortgage plus enough cushion to live off of. Does that make sense? Yeah. So that's what they refer to as the debt to income ratio, DTI. Now, what PACE is talking about is if you had a mortgage in your name, okay, and then you go to buy another house, most people can't afford 2 houses to pay 2 mortgages at the same time. So when you go to pay your other house, the buy a new house, the new mortgage lender is going to say, "Hey, I just pulled up your social security number shows me that you have another mortgage. So you're not going to qualify for a new mortgage to get another home." There's a whole lot, there's other things that goes into it, but that's the biggest problem. So what Pace is saying is, what we do is, because we have a third party licensing company, and he said there's over 400 of these in the United States, I think he said, or maybe I don't know if it's his state or in the United States or what, but there's over 400 licensed servicing company. And what a licensed servicing company does is they take money from a business and they, or a person, and they make payments every month on behalf of that person or business.
Okay.
So basically, he'll have a company account,
Okay.
and the licensing company will take money every month out of that account and make that mortgage payment.
Okay.
And then you get a document from that licensing company, take it to the mortgage lender that you're applying for the new loan for a new house, and say, "Hey, yes, I have this debt. Yes, I have this mortgage in my name. Here is a document from the license company showing that these payments are being made." They cancel each other out, and it's like it's not there.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. So that's what he was talking about. And that was one of the seller's questions. What about my DTI? Okay.
DTI. Okay.
Mhm.
400 deals where, a little over 400 deals where sellers have that as a concern. They go and buy properties in the future and they go, "I thought it was going to be an issue. It wasn't an issue at all." And we help them get through it.
Okay, great.
What else? What else
Yeah,
you got for me?
those were the bulk of my questions. I think, Ryan, did he miss anything? Seems like the
No,
bulk of
that
what we
was
talked about yesterday.
Yeah, that was pretty much it. If she wanted to buy a home in Sugarland after she moves or whatever, how do we go about that? So that clears that up.
Yeah, and the cool thing too, Brooke, is that the only thing I do is I only buy houses subject to and seller finance, which is good, because what'll happen is if Ryan, you go back to Ryan, you go, "Hey Ryan, I'm ready to buy another house," which I'm sure you will. Here's the cool thing. Can I tell you something about Ryan? I don't know Ryan, but I can tell you right now, the real estate market is going through an incredible tumultuous situation. Real estate agents are having a really hard time selling houses. Buyers are freaking out. The days on market have climbed. I mean, you guys are experiencing it to a certain degree. It doesn't matter how many times you drop your price. People are like, "Well, what am I going to do? Go to 7% interest rate on this house? It doesn't make sense," right?
Right.
Ryan, I got to give you a compliment. Going out and finding somebody like me that will buy via subject to is an incredible real estate agent. Most real estate agents would have abandoned you and said, "I can't help you."
So what he's talking about is, in the beginning, he had a phone conversation with the real estate. They have a real estate agent, Ryan, who's tried to sell the house for them, and it's been sitting on the market. So then Ryan calls Pace, and that's how he found them.
Oh, okay.
He had this specific real estate agent named Ryan brings him deals like this that are having a hard time selling. So he's trying to explain to them, "Hey, your agent is a good agent. Your agent tried to sell it the traditional way, and when he can't do that, he resorts to other resources like me, for example. So if you didn't have this great agent, then you probably wouldn't have been able to sell this house at all."
Mm-hmm.
Right? Okay, so
Right.
that's who Ryan is. That's what he's doing here.
Oh, okay.
Right? And you would have been sitting here saying, "What do I do?" So, what I would tell you is, when you're ready to buy another house, go back to Ryan, and Ryan can come to me and say, "Hey, what do you have subject to seller finance?" I get houses at sometimes 2% interest, 3% interest that I can't buy because I typically only buy one house a week. So let's say I get 3 houses in a week, I have to say no to 2 of those. And the reason for that is I have to furnish them. I have to get the carpet going. I have to clean them up. I have to get things done. I have to go through title. All of those things take time and onboarding. So a lot of times I'll say no to them, and I will give them to real estate agents that I work with, and they give those houses to their clients. So you can get 2%, 3%, whatever interest rate sometimes when you just kind of work inside my network.
Awesome. Well, hey, I actually just got my carpet deep clean, so you're out of the clear with this one.
Oh, I love it. Okay, cool. So what I'll do with Ryan, if you're comfortable with it, I'll send over paperwork to Ryan, and
Okay.
you guys can take a look at it. If there's more questions, let me know. I think that there's another party interested. Perfectly fine. If you guys decide to go with the other people, no big deal. Let me know in the future if you need to buy a house, and I'll still work with Ryan on other things. But when you go through my paperwork, right, you go through the agreement, have Ryan send me any questions or anything he wants to change, anything that he has as a curiosity, but read the document. Don't just sign it. Read the document. And
Oh, sorry.
Is this from the
Hold on.
playlist that you
I
had
was
before?
trying.
the money doesn't come out of my bank
Oh, wait a
account and then goes.
I was trying to pause it so that I could point something out, and I don't know what happened. I just got click happy. My finger was like blah, 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 all over the place. Now I'm trying to remember what I was going to point out. Oh, what he did there is called the pullback method, and he meant it, but at the same time, when you say something like, if you decide not to choose us as your buyer, if you decide not to sell with us, no problem, no big deal. I'll work on Ryan with other things. You can still, come to me if you want to buy a house in the future, creative finance, and work inside my network. So that's called like the pullback method. You're not pressuring them. You're giving them room to make the decision. Do you know what I mean? And letting them know, you're not like breathing out, like, come on, let me buy your house. Let me buy your house. Let me buy your house. I mean, if somebody comes at you like that, you're going to be like, oh, dude, back up. No, that guy was creepy. I was going to sell to him, but then when he did that, I was like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it just kind of, gives them the space that they need to go ahead and make the decision. And 9 times out of 10, they usually do go with you. But I just wanted to kind of point that out there.
Mm-hmm.
To yours, and then I have to rely on you to go make the payment. Westar is the name of the company I use. It's called Westar Loan Servicing.
Wait a minute.
And they
I
pulled
think we were all the way back here.
that I can't buy because I typically only buy one house a week.
Okay, I think we were further. Sorry about that.
Oh no, you're fine.
This mouse was sliding all over the place, and I was trying to catch
Great
it.
sometimes when you just kind of work inside my network.
There you go.
Awesome. Well, hey, I actually just got my carpet deep clean, so you're out of the clear with this one.
Oh, I love it. Okay, cool. So what I'll do with Ryan, if you're comfortable with it, I'll send over paperwork to Ryan, and you guys can take a look at it. If there's more questions, let me know. I think that there's another party interested. Perfectly fine. If you guys decide to go with the other people, no big deal. Let me know in the future if you need to buy a house, and I'll still work with Ryan on other things. But when you go through my paperwork, right, you go through the agreement, have Ryan send me any questions or anything he wants to change, anything that he has as a curiosity, but read the document. Don't just sign it. Read the document and let me know what questions you guys have.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you so much.
Awesome. Thanks, Brooke, for taking the time. Ryan, thank you so much for the Zoom call. I appreciate it.
Yeah, appreciate it.
All right, guys. Have a good day.
You too. Bye-bye.
What Allison will do on my team is she'll walk you through the sub-2 paperwork so that, as an agent, this is stuff they don't teach in school, obviously. So I'll have my transaction coordinator walk you through it so that you can turn around and walk your client through it, kind of give you a little bit more education on it so you have confidence walking into that conversation. And then if she does it on Zoom, it makes it really easy for you. And then get it signed. Let's open up escrow. Let's get it done. Is it crazy how much more money you could be making actually on these like no equity deals?
I know. I was like, man, this is the first one, but it just opens my eyes to a lot of opportunity, especially with how the market is and with situations. But I was like, damn, I need to get game going.
I know. I think most of our real estate agents that learn this can triple their income in 1 year just by learning how to do this.
Yeah, it was really sick.
Cool. Well, I'll send you the Zoom link for filling out the paperwork with Allison, and then I'll send you over that Zoom link from yesterday's meeting.
Awesome. Appreciate it, bud.
All right. Thank you, brother. See ya. Guys, if you're a real estate agent and you're not learning creative finance, you're going to be just like Ryan there that is having a hard time selling houses. But with creative finance, like subject to seller finance, you're going to be able to double, triple, or even quadruple your income by going after houses that are basically dead deals. Ryan had a dead deal, couldn't sell it. I came along, saved the day. Now Ryan's like, oh my gosh, even though the economy is trending downward, Pace just gave me the game to double my income. So if you guys are not learning this, you're getting left behind.
Hello.
Hey, how you doing?
Okay, so that's enough, right?
That was awesome though, how he was explaining
Yeah.
that.
Yes.
Because
And I was tripping over my words there, so it was
no, because like there are some realtors who don't like know about this information, or who don't want to work with people who know about creative finance, which I don't know why.
there's
Some people,
something that we always say in sub 2. You ready? A confused mind always says no. So it's a realtor's job to make sure that they have their client's best interest at heart. They are there to protect their clients. They're there to lead and guide their client through the transaction process. And if they don't understand something, how can they feel confident that they have their best client's interest at heart? It's actually our job,
okay,
you know? And if something goes wrong, it's going to be the agent's fault because the
right,
agent's supposed to be guiding them through it, right? So that's
right,
where they're coming from.
oh,
Understanding where they're coming from helps a lot. So if they don't understand, and plus they're also their clients are looking up to them as being the authority, right? Oh,
right,
you're a real estate agent. You're the one that knows all about this stuff, right?
right, yeah,
That's what people expect. That's what we're paying you for, right?
right,
So if they don't know about it, they're not gonna say, "Oh, I don't know anything about that." Most of the time, they're not gonna do that because they need to keep that what's the word I'm looking for? They need to keep that understanding of them being the authority in the situation so that their clients trust them. I mean, if I go to you and I say, let's say you work at a hair salon, you're a hairstylist, right? And I say, "Hey, can you make sure that you make my hair blonde, but I can't stand that yellow stuff. Like, can you make sure that it doesn't come out yellow?" And you don't know how to do that. Are you going to say, "Oh, I'm not so sure about that." Or are you going to say like, "I don't know how to do that." Or are you going to say, "You know what? This person over here is really good at doing this color and not getting the yellow out." Or they might even say something like, "Oh, I'm all booked up, but let me see, call back in a couple weeks. Let me see if I can fit you in." Right. Because
mhm,
they don't want to not look like they know what they're talking about in their profession. That's
right.
probably like a horrible explanation, but I'm just trying to kind of help you understand why a lot of agents turn it down like that.
No, yeah, yeah, understand. Yeah, yeah, they want to like they have that like understanding that they know what they're, so they'll make the buyer feel confident in buying the home. So yeah,
And they
okay,
also, if they don't know about it, they want to make sure that their clients are safe.
right,
So, I mean, it's understandable,
yeah,
but a lot of them they just don't know.
okay,
So, and it's really a matter of kind of learning how to talk to people. Now, you saw how detailed he was in that conversation, right? It's
yeah,
because he's been doing this for a really, really long time. So when you start out, you're not going to have all the answers. So you
right,
just have to know how to be like, "You know what? That's a really good question. Let's make a list of all the questions that you have and let's hop on a Zoom." And then that's when you bring your closer in. You say, "My team member and I can get on the Zoom with you. You can see our faces, see we're real people. We can answer any questions that you have," and so on and so forth. Does that
okay,
all make sense?
yeah. That kind of makes me feel more comfortable as well, because like when it comes to like calling or reaching out to someone who I don't know and they're asking like really important questions, I don't want to be like, oh, I don't know, or not sound like I know what I'm not like what I'm talking about. So just like
That is probably the most common way that people, almost everybody, feels when they first start out doing this.
okay.
I'm a realtor, and I felt that way to a degree. Some people may like see now if you're very young, so you've never bought a house before, so you have a lot more questions about the process in general.
Yeah.
So you might feel like that a lot more. But yeah, I mean, I feel like everybody feels like that. Even people that have a background in real estate feel like that because this is a process that has just kind of not been used very often for a very long time. I mean, it's older than mortgages, but people kind of forgot about it. And then, new generations come in and all they've ever known is mortgages. You know what I mean? So, when you don't know about it, a confused mind always says no, right? Oh, I think you're frozen. You there? You're frozen. Hello. We kind of went over an hour anyway. Let me text you. Let me call you on the phone, actually.
Hello?
Did time stand still for me or did you freeze?
I don't know. Like on my end, it froze.
Yeah.
Like it started to freeze up,
Yeah.
and then I was like, oh
I'm
man,
still live at the moment. I have the phone to my microphone. I have you
oh
on
okay,
speaker to my microphone. But anyway, yeah. So we were about to end anyway because we went over an hour. So I'm going to give you some homework to do. To watch some um seller call videos that I'll send your way, and then you can also look up some yourself as well. And then next time we can practice some role play. And then once you feel comfortable with that, then we can make some live calls.
awesome. That sounds fantastic.
Okay. And since we kind of had some technical issues here, we'll just pick up another Spanish phrase next week. Sound good?
Okay, cool. That sounds amazing.
All right, sweetheart. Thank you so much. And we'll see you next time.
Thank you. See you
You're
next time.
welcome. Okay. Bye, everybody.
Bye bye.
Great.